In the shadow of the Tetons, a rare and resonant sound drifts across the landscape. Once nearly silenced forever, the trumpeter swan, North America's largest waterfowl, has returned to the skies over Yellowstone and beyond.
The trumpeter swan is one of the most recognizable and iconic bird species in the parks in Yellowstone and Grand Teton. They have the striking, pure white plumage, black bill, black feet. Just the proportions and the appearance of the bird are beautiful.
Trumpeter swans are the largest bird really in North America. The large male has been recorded up to 30 pounds. They have well over a 6-foot wingspan. And because their trachea is extra long, they make a trumpeting sound like a trumpet or a bugle.
Trumpeter swans' vocalizations sound like the call of the wilderness. They're breathtakingly beautiful, long-necked, regal, elegant, pure white, beautiful on the water, beautiful in the air. They mate for life. They're wonderful parents.
For centuries, trumpeter swans embodied nature's wild grace and elegance. But 100 years ago, these iconic birds were nearly erased.
In the settler colonial period in North America, 1600s, trumpeter swans started being hunted for their feathers and their meat and their skins. And that continued until 1935, I believe. There were only 69 known individuals.
This was a species that had gone from being present throughout much of North America to almost going extinct. The reason this bird had become endangered was twofold. One, it was a large, tasty bird. But secondly, if you shot one of these and pulled out its primary feathers, you could sell those as quills because they were such fine quality pounds. And actually, the skins made a wonderful powder puff for makeup.
James Audubon, the bird icon, savior, said, "There's no better quill to write with than a trumpeter swan feather." And the populations were in free fall. They declined precipitously.
As their numbers collapsed, Yellowstone National Park became a refuge, one of the last places the trumpeter swans could be found in the wild.
Yellowstone National Park was the last stand for trumpeter swans in North America. And so that made them iconic to the park. And so this kicked off a decades-long conservation effort, both science and management, to try and solve this problem.
Through restoration efforts, the trumpeter swan population rebounded in much of North America. But in Yellowstone, the recovery was more fragile. Climate stress and a growing human presence pushed the population into decline once again.
There are a range of human-caused threats to trumpeter swans, including collisions with fences and power lines. Also, they can ingest lead fishing tackle and have lead poisoning.
Yellowstone National Park advertised and promoted fishing on their lakes in the 30s, 40s, and 50s. And in Yellowstone, there are trumpeter swans nesting throughout these areas where people started fishing. You bump them from the nest for an hour or two, that could do in their entire clutch for that year.
Human disturbance wasn't the only factor. Unlike many trumpeter swans that migrate, Yellowstone's also home to a rare resident population that lives there year-round.
Like a lot of reintroduced species, they've lost a lot of their migratory traditions. And so most of the trumpeter swans in Wyoming do a short distance migration within the state to a wintering area.
When you have these birds that never migrated, they then stick to what they know, and they don't really explore very much. So even if numbers increase, they don't expand very quickly. So one way to jumpstart this process then is to raise birds in captivity and then release them in appropriate habitat that they wouldn't have gone to on their own.
Here in the Yellowstone ecosystem, the Ricketts Conservation Foundation has helped guide the swan's return by supporting a captive breeding and release program.
This captive breeding program is then an effort on the part of the Wyoming Wetland Society, who work with the Ricketts Conservation Foundation to release birds so that we can increase the population of this non-migratory population. In order to captive breed birds, you have to have captive pairs of the right genetics, and then in the fall, when those young can fly, you release them in an area that has good habitat and where you hope that they can survive and come back to so that they will breed there eventually.
Some of the things that we're hoping to learn are what landscape features, what wetland features support long-term reproductive success for these birds.
We take some of those young and put them in places that are still good habitat where the birds either aren't doing well or they've disappeared from. And that's boosted the Yellowstone National Park population from 4 birds to about 25, 26. So it's been a successful program. It's put the population back on its feet. And I think it's getting close to the point where we can let natural reproduction take over.
We're actually starting to see now multiple pairs breeding in the park, which is really wonderful because there was a risk that Yellowstone would lose that iconic species.
Each release is only the beginning. True restoration means following the trumpeter swans and watching their lives unfold.
When you release birds into the wild, you really want to know what happens to them. And one way to do that is to put color bands on their ankles, and that then allows you to identify individual birds, and also through efforts by looking for birds and seeing if they're banded, you can actually do a capture-recapture model, which provides you an estimate of the population size, but also such things as survival, reproductive effort, and long-term productivity.
With careful tracking and data collection, the momentum of recovery slowly emerges. A species headed once toward oblivion is finding its way back.
Trumpeter swans just capture the public's imagination. And so it's kind of an event to release them to new areas that is good conservation, ecology, and public relations. And the public love them. And so it's a way to build support for conservation. And there's no better ambassador for that than a trumpeter swan. They're beautiful, they're gentle, they're the perfect species to advance human connection to nature.
Trumpeter swan restoration is a huge success story. Our population count for 2025 of trumpeter swans was about 1,000 individuals in the greater Rocky Mountain population, but we don't want to stop there because we know we are facing an increasingly warm and dry future, and this is a species that relies on wetlands for its life cycle. And so our focus now is building upon this success and trying to make sure we have a population that's resilient to changes in the future.
once silenced, now heard again. The trumpeter swan's bugle call echoes across Yellowstone's wild landscape, a lasting reminder that when we give nature room to heal, life returns.